This is the Louie T Network.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report Live. Ooh-wee! Ooh-wee! We killing them boys. We back like cook crack off of that bye week with a bang. And like I said, would have loved to have had this been a blowout. We started out 14-0. The third time this season at home, we started out with a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, only to blow that lead literally before the halftime break. It is very frustrating, very infuriating, but guess what? We won all three of those games, so I'm not complaining. We don't have that killer instinct quite yet, and maybe we'll develop it over time. But as long as we're getting that W, that's all that matters to me right now. We will discuss the Redskins' latest victory over the Minnesota Vikings here in a short little while when we get to Redskins game notes. However, first and foremost, welcome to the program. Welcome to the Louie T Network. For those of you who are new here, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We changing the game over here. As you can see, huge Redskins fan, and if you are as well, if you're not, doesn't really matter, okay? I break down all 32 teams in the National Football League, but if you're a Redskins fan, where else would you rather be here than breaking it down with your man Louie T, talking Washington Redskins football? And there are a number of different platforms, guys that I support, whether it's Burgundy Fly Guy, my man BFG over there on the Burgundy Fly Guy channel, my man Redskins Review doing his thing over there on his YouTube channel. There's so many different outlets for you to support the Burgundy and Gold. Pick one. I don't give a damn. Pick one. Pick all three. Who cares? Just support the Burgundy and Gold. We got a number of different platforms for you to chop it up and talk football. So, look, man, I love doing this. I moved it from Wednesday to Tuesday. Some of you guys missed the memo. Well, hopefully you are with me on Twitter. And again, if you're not with me on Twitter, at In the Lab Room, shame on you. You should be, because you would know that I'm going live on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock, which is going to be the new start time and a new time slot for the Redskins Report Live. Moving forward, the remainder of the season going to be on Tuesdays. There will not be a Redskins Report Live next Tuesday, however, as your man Louie T on a bye week. Hey, everybody else is doing it. Let me get my bye weekend before we start to get to the nitty-gritty of the finish line of this 2016 NFL season. So, as I customarily do, I take my bye week the week of Thanksgiving. So, I'll only do the primetime games. Luckily enough for us, Redskins have two primetime games in that span, Sunday Night Football and Thursday against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So, you'll still get a breakdown from me, luckily enough, because the Redskins play in two primetime slots in that span of my bye week. But no breakdowns, no lockdown coverage, no Redskins Report Live, no Louie T Live, none of that next week. I'm on my bye. But that being said, make sure you follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room. That's the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me, turn those notifications on. And also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and give me a like there. So, Redskins get it done. A lot of things to chew on here, and let me give a couple of shout outs to some people. And again, I can't specifically remember exactly who, but I know there's a number of you, specifically like one or two of you, who are like, look, man, don't worry about Ty Secchi. He's gonna be fine. Shout out to you. Big ups to you if you were one of the ones who told me, hey, Ty Secchi's gonna hold it down. You won't even know the man's on the field. Ty Secchi was magnificent, and this is not the New Orleans Saints. This is not the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is not a team without a pass rush. this is a team that can get after the quarterback. This isn't one of those teams where you just line up and you know you're going to block the guy in front of you because they don't get to the quarterback. This is the Minnesota Vikings. They can get after your quarterback, and Tyron was flawless on the afternoon. And so big ups to all of you who tried to put me at ease last week with Tyron in the lineup. He did a bang-up job, and good that we came out of this game relatively healthy. Remember, we're a banged-up football team, okay? Derek Carrier came back. That was good to see. We released Deshaun Phillips. Good riddance to Deshaun Phillips. He was horrible. And so now Derek Carrier comes up, so we still have 3 viable options at tight end on this football team. Vernon Davis went down with a brief injury. He came back into the football game. Momo has been dealing with an ankle. He went down with that same ankle, wrapped it up, came back in the game, and continued to ball for us. So Momo fighting through the pain, getting it done. Those were our 2 casualties in this game, and they were very minimal. So we feel good coming out of this game with no major injuries as we move forward, because we got 3 games in 11 days. We just played the Vikings. Now we got a Sunday night game versus the Packers, and then we turn around and play on Thanksgiving versus the Cowboys. So we can't afford many injuries. We have to stay relatively healthy heading into this stretch of football before we get the 10 days off before the next game, which, if I'm not mistaken, is on the road at Arizona. We'll see what happens, though. I don't know the schedule. Again, I'm a 1 game at a time guy. Next team up on the docket, the Green Bay Packers. We'll talk about them a little bit later on in the show when we get to the bow and go. But speaking of which, let's jump into the breakdown of this game. Redskins get it done 26-20. It felt like this had an opportunity to be New Orleans Saints game from last year where we put up 45 and held them to 14 and got to enjoy the game and sit back, kick back, relax, and just enjoy the festivities of an ass whooping. Nope, that didn't happen. The Vikings roared back and took the lead 20-14. So let's jump into the breakdown of this game as only we know how on this program. Redskins game notes. Redskins game notes. All right, so let's jump into the breakdown of the Vikings-Redskins game from Sunday. Redskins get the victory 26-20, go to 5-3-1 on the season. First things first, Redskins kick the football off. You know how I feel about getting the ball after halftime. I am a huge proponent of playing defense first, getting the ball after halftime, because I don't know what everybody else does it for. I know a lot of people love the double dip theory and the Bill Belichick theory of things. That's all fine and dandy. My theory, the Louie T theory, is you know what the score is at the beginning of the game, okay? It's 0-0. So it doesn't matter if you get the football and score first. All of that stuff is hogwash. We've had 3 different games where we've had a 14-point lead in the first quarter and blown all 3 of those leads. So miss me with the getting off to a fast start, okay? It's great to get out to a fast start. It's great to get out to the lead. No one wants to be losing at the beginning of the game, but you don't know what the score is going to be after halftime. You could be trailing, as the Redskins were in this game. You could be winning, and you could be looking to add to that lead. Either way, you much rather have the football after the half because you don't know. There's an unknown variable there. You don't know what the score is going to be after halftime. You know what the score is going to be at the beginning of the game. So you can control and dictate what happens at the beginning. You can't going into the halftime break. You can only play the game up until that point and hope that you get the ball after halftime first, because maybe you need to turn the tide of the game. In any event, I just like having the ball after halftime because you don't know. You just don't know. So, Redskins kick off. So you know I'm a happy man. So we start there. Redskins force a 3-and-out. Vitamin B with coverage on Kyle Rudolph on 3rd down. We got interior pressure on that particular play. So the Redskins able to get off the field on the first possession. Again, 3-and-outs are rare for this Redskins defense. We've been a little bit better with those of late, but don't mistake this for something that is a trend with this football team. We still aren't great defensively. We still don't force a lot of turnovers, and we still don't force a ton of 3-and-outs. So anytime we get one, we have to cherish them, and we did that here. Not only did we get the 3-and-out, but then offensively we took advantage of the momentum of that 3-and-out as PG88 goes for 15, and he had himself a whale of a ball game. He's been coming on of late. He's been very consistent, and we know pretty much what we're getting from Pierre Garçon every week, but it's just good to know that we can rely on him, A, to be healthy and play, and B, to be a competitor and get the job done when his number is called week in and week out. Jay Reed for 25. And then JC Ice, for 7 on a jet sweep and a first down. Then Fat Rob gets a first down on 3rd and 1. Kirk misses Jay Reed for a touchdown and then forces a bad throw under pressure. This was a little dicey. Threw it up for grabs, a little pressure in his face. He panics. Instead of getting out of the pocket, he panics, throws it up for grabs. And if the two Vikings linebackers don't collide with one another, that being Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks, that's probably an interception, but they collide. The ball hits the ground, and the very next play is a JC Ice, Nothing's better than ice, JC Ice. Touchdown on a beautifully thrown football by Kirk Cousins. Yep, it was low. It was supposed to be low. That's the only spot you put that football so that the defender cannot harass it. And JC Ice goes and scrapes it off the turf and gets the touchdown. We've had our red zone woes. At that point, it just felt good to score in the red zone. Jamison Crowder coming up big for us there. But at the time, we didn't know this. That would be the lone one conversion in the red zone out of 4 opportunities on the afternoon. Again, we will talk about the red zone issues. That is something that must be addressed. But in any event, Redskins get the score. Kirk Cousins starts off hot. The Redskins offense started out balanced. We move it down the field and we score a touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. Jerick McKinnon with the first down after one run and a catch. Then the blitz on 2nd down and long after Craven's tackle for a 6-yard loss. And Sewell Craven's very active in this football game. He's starting to come into his own as well. Leads to 20 yards for Kyle Rudolph and a first down. But a holding on center, Joe Berger, destroyed that drive for the Vikings. And it led to pressure from the Redskins. They sacked Sam Bradford on 3rd down, forcing them to punt. So we got a little bit of help from the Vikings there. After they got something going, Sewell Cravens makes a great play on a toss outside. He tackles their running back for a 6-yard loss. You're thinking, we got him, 2nd and 16, and we blitz, being over-aggressive. Sam Bradford finds a wide open Kyle Rudolph on a dragger right across the middle. There is no Redskin in sight. He picks up 20 and a first down. But Joe Berger, 2 plays later, with a holding penalty that would drive them back. Redskins then get the sack on Bradford. They punt the football. So Redskins get the ball back. And the Redskins would take advantage of that. VD with 2 catches. He was huge on this particular drive. Actually got all 3 of his catches in the ball game for 66 yards on this drive. For 28 yards down to the 8-yard line, and gets injured on one of them on those first 2 catches. And then the Redskins end the first quarter with a 3rd and 6 situation, which leads us to another unsung hero from this game as we head to the second quarter. Maurice Harris, with his first career NFL grab, goes for 7 on 3rd and 6 and a first down on the first play of the second quarter. Then VD with a touchdown grab of 38 yards on a beautifully run, what they call a leak route, where you start blocking on the opposite side of the field of the actual intended play. So the quarterback rolls out. Kirk, in this instance, goes bootleg, play action fake out to his right, stops, plants, everyone, all the action on the play is going towards the right. And Vernon Davis, who starts blocking on the play initially, leaks over to the right, almost like the fall down play in the red zone where your guy falls down and then goes to the other side of the field. It's a misdirection play. And both he and Jordan Reed were wide open on this play. But obviously Vernon Davis, the primary read on this play, gets the football, outruns Anthony Barr to the end zone for a touchdown. Beautifully drawn up, executed football play there. Redskins take a 14-0 lead. At this point in the game, I'm telling you right now, I'm not one to be overly optimistic, but I'm talking ass whooping at this point. I'm like, these boys, their offense stinks. And we knew that their offense was anemic coming into this game. I'm ready to do these boys, and I'm ready to do them right now the right way. Okay? I'm saying get one more stop. One more stop. We got their ass. That's what I'm saying at this point. And we had an opportunity. Jerick McKinnon with a face mask penalty puts the Vikings in a bad 3rd and 12 hole. But illegal contact gives them an automatic first down. Skins still force a punt on the next set of downs. The run D dominant thus far, and the run D was actually outstanding in this game, which has been a big pet peeve of ours with this Redskins defense. Don't get too excited. Don't go overboard with it. The Vikings are the absolute worst team running the football in the league this season, averaging less than 3 yards a carry. They averaged 2.2 in this game versus the Redskins. They're averaging 2.4 on the season. So don't get excited about the run defense from the game. You should feel good about what you saw, but don't take it too far. We played against the worst rush offense in the league. They're on pace to set the NFL record for the most ineptitude in terms of running the football, in terms of average per attempt in league history since the Super Bowl era has begun. So don't get too excited, but damn it, if they're bad, make sure they stay bad against us. Don't let them get right against our defense, and we did not do that. So Redskins find a way to get the football back, and that's it. There goes the stop we needed. We got them. Redskins go 3 and out on the next set of downs. 3 straight passes. Again, I'm not one to critique play calling, especially when it was so good on this afternoon. But I thought we needed to run the football there. And we went straight out there. We threw it 3 times, 3 incomplete passes. And we have to punt. And then the Vikings started to go to work on our defense. And let's talk about this particular drive, though. Stephon Diggs goes for 36 after Mason Foster drops an interception on the first down on that Vikings possession. If he catches that pick on an out route to Kyle Rudolph, this game's over. Redskins would be in great field position. The Vikings haven't really stopped us. They had the 1 3 and out on the last possession, but again, we were over aggressive there. We get the football in Vikings territory, which that pick would have either been a pick 6 by Mason Foster, or he's going to be tackled deep into Vikings territory. We're talking inside their 20. We're going for more points. This game is over. Instead, he drops the football, and the Vikings went off on our ass. So Diggs for 36, then Adam Thielen for 14 on a run, on a jet sweep. Then Kyle Rudolph with an 11-yard catch down to the 1-yard line. Skins stop him on first down, stop him on second down. They relentlessly run it again on third down, and this time Matt Asiata gets in to cut the Redskins lead in half to 14-7. Fat Rob starts the drive with a 14-yard run on first down. Then a holding on Momo sets up 2nd and 16. So just when we started to try to get some momentum and wrestle back a little bit of the momentum that had been stolen from us with the Vikings touchdown, Momo gets a holding penalty, and then the Skins throw the football to Ryan Grant on third down. Kirk Cousins rolls out of the pocket after a little bit of pressure, escapes, extends, which is what we've been begging for him to do. He does it on this particular play, throws it to Ryan Grant. It looks like Trey Wayans tackles him on the play. They don't throw a flag. Remember, Kirk runs up to the official like, hey, what are you doing? How could you not call a flag there? When you look at the replay, it's just typical, good old-fashioned Ryan Grant falling down on the goddamn ground. It's essentially what it is. Ryan Grant has the worst balance I've ever seen of any receiver that has ever donned the burgundy and gold, and he showed it off again by falling down on the ground with minimal contact. So we don't get the flag there, and we didn't deserve a flag there. I wouldn't have begged for a flag there because, frankly, he needs to keep his goddamn feet. Anyway, Redskins have to punt. Vikings get the football back. 2 more Stephon Diggs catches. Then Jarius Wright with a screen leads to the Vikings inside the Redskins 30-yard line at the 2-minute warning. Skins mix up coverage, and Kyle Rudolph literally walks into the end zone for a 20-yard touchdown. It's 14-all. A game that was 14-0 with the Redskins with 2 opportunities to go up 21-0 if they could have taken advantage of that last punt. They go 3 and out with 3 straight throws. Then the next possession, Mason Foster drops an interception. Now all of a sudden it's 14-14, and I'm sitting here saying, we just let one of the worst offenses in the league go down the field twice in a row and score. This sucks. But I said we got 57 seconds left. And we got all 3 of our timeouts. Let's go get at least a field goal and wrestle back some of this momentum. And we get the ball back after halftime. Let's go do these boys quick before the halftime break. Get something and then get something else. Let's double dip. Field goal before the half and a touchdown after the half. And we'll restore our lead at 10 points at 24-14 and run away from these boys. Remember, last week I said on this program, if we score points, the Vikings can't keep up. They don't score enough to keep up. What I didn't account for was us helping them. So, on the next set of downs, CT fumbles the goddamn football. And we haven't had many issues with that this year outside of Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones. Haven't had many of those from our other backs. So, this was a little strange and weird. I wasn't accustomed, but I saw the ball on the ground like, oh, hell, that's a fumble. And they recover it. Stephon Diggs for 22 yards. And on this particular play, I wrote down in my notes, we need a real safety because on this play, Dante Whitner doesn't turn around to locate football. If he does, that is an interception. Okay, the football is literally hanging in the air. Bradford is getting hammered as he throws this football. The ball is just sitting there waiting to be plucked out of the air. And Dante Whitner has no clue where the football is. His only focus is on Stephon Diggs and trying to hit him instead of locating the football. All he has to do is turn around and look, and if he does, he's got an easy interception. Instead, he allows Diggs to slide and catch the football for 22 yards. They're inside our 5-yard line. And then next thing you know, one play left, and this was terrible clock management by the Minnesota Vikings as they allowed a lot of time to be wasted. But it didn't matter. They get down there. They run the old in motion, back in motion, and trick Josh Norman, who's in man-to-man coverage. And he runs out into the flats quickly for an easy touchdown. Wow. We went from up 14 to now trailing 20-14 in a span of 5 minutes and 39 seconds of game action. They scored their first touchdown with 5 minutes and 39 seconds left in the first half. And now they've scored 3 in that same time frame leading to halftime. Luckily enough for us, Blair Walsh missed the extra point, which gave us a little bit of momentum going into halftime. It's rare that you get momentum from an other team's blunder after they score, but that's exactly what happened. And this is why I like getting the football after halftime. They had all the momentum. We couldn't stop them, but we get the ball first after halftime. We put together a drive as let's get to that. Let's get to the second half. So, Redskins down 20-14 heading into the second half of this game. Skins' impressive 12-play, 55-yard drive ends at the 12-yard line as the Skins bogged down again in the red zone. D-Hop with a 30-yard field goal. Redskins now trail 20-17 in this football game. So, the Redskins' woes in the red zone continues as they don't get in the end zone on another drive that ends in a field goal. Skins D gets a 3rd and 1 stop and forces a 3 and out. The defense was huge on these 3rd and 1s. Not only did they get this 3rd and 1, but they get another one later on in the ball game that gets the offense back the football. The Redskins had 4 possessions in the second half, scored on all 4 of them. Just imagine if one of those wasn't a field goal and instead a touchdown. This game isn't as close, but there were 4 field goals. Either way, you'll take it. We scored on 4 straight possessions, all 4 of our second half possessions. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings had 4 second half possessions as well, and they didn't score on any of them. Redskins defense came up huge. Speaking of which, another successful drive by the Redskins ends in a field goal, this time from 37 yards out, 20 all as we knotted up at 20. Maurice Harris with another big 3rd down grab on that drive as he continues to make plays on the sidelines, getting his feet down and extending that long frame, catching the football. Thought he had a strong performance. And again, another example of a guy stepping up in the absence of a starter. Ty Nsekhe doing it for Trent Williams and Deshaun Jackson out. Guys stepped up like Maurice Harris. You got to love the depth on this football team. Guys go down, someone else fills in and does an admirable job. Big 3rd-and-1 stop by Comp and Whitner ends another Vikings drive. So I talked about the 3rd-and-1 stop earlier in the third quarter. Now we get another one as we head to the fourth quarter. Redskins with a huge stop on the first possession of the fourth quarter for the Vikings. Redskins get the football back to the offense that has scored on 2 straight possessions, albeit field goals. They've scored on 2 straight possessions to tie this game up at 20 apiece. Redskins get pinned at the 9-yard line as the Vikings are able to kick the football. Jamison Crowder fair catches the ball at the 9-yard line. Fat Rob with a 21-yard gain jump starts. Actually, that drive started from the 8. So Fat Rob with a 21-yard gain. This was probably his most impressive run of the afternoon, and it was the most needed. We're backed up at our own goal line, essentially at the 8-yard line, and he rips off a 21-yard run, makes the safety miss in the hole, runs through a couple of arm tackles, was physical, leaned forward, got all the yards that were there to be gotten. And so this is why we love this guy, because he runs the football physically and gets extra yards after contact, makes guys miss. I can't tell you how many defenders he made miss in this game that had an easy shot on him, and he just juked them out of their draws. Had at least 5 to 6 missed tackles in this game created by Rob Kelly with nobody blocking for him on those particular instances. So he was tremendous in this game, almost eclipsed 100 yards as you see the total amount of yards scrolling across the top of the screen. 3 yards short of 100 against a really good Minnesota Vikings defense, especially against the ground game. So felt really good about what I saw from him in this game. After that 21-yard run, then we got some chunk plays from both PG-88 and JC Ice on some drift routes right over the middle of the field. That old drift route, play action fake, gets the defense sucked up. Linebackers come up, and then you run the little dig route right behind them. We do it on consecutive plays. 1 to PG-88. Remember, Xavier Rhodes, Vikings starting corner, leaves the game, and we start picking on Mackenzie Alexander, the rookie out of Clemson, immediately. And then we get Jamison Crowder, JC Ice on this same exact route on the opposite side of the field on the very next play. So a couple of huge chunk plays there to get the Redskins up the field quickly. But in typical Redskins fashion, we bogged down yet again as we have to settle for a field goal as Kirk can't connect with PG-88 on 3rd and 2. They ran a comeback towards the sidelines. Looked like Pierre kind of slipped coming out of that break. Don't know if he would have caught the football or not, but in any event, Redskins don't connect on 3rd and 2. Have to settle for a 50-yard field goal from our guy. And I told you, he's money. I'll ride and die with our guy every single day of the week. D-Hop from 50. It would have been good from 60. Money down the pipe. Gives the Redskins their first lead since 14-7 in the second quarter. So Redskins take the lead 23-20 there. And so you're feeling good about where we are right now, but you're like, man, we need another stop. Vikings get the football, and they're moving it, man. They are moving it. And I actually wrote this down in my notes. On that 3rd and 2 to Pierre, I said, why not run the ball there? We had success on the ground. I wouldn't have been opposed to a run, even if you want to spread them out and give Chris Thompson a shotgun handoff, or you want to go read option there, or you want to just turn around and hand it to Fat Rob, who was having himself a ball game. On 3rd and 2 there, I'm not sure. I'm not okay with a run. I put it down in my notes. Why not run there? But they didn't run, and Redskins settled for the field goal, 23-20. Redskins take the lead. So Vikings start moving the football, and they had a nice little drive going. Diggs, Thielen with solid gains. Cullen Jenkins with a personal foul penalty, roughing the passer, blow to the head of the quarterback. So he hit Sam Bradford in the head. It was a blatant, easy call to make. And then P. Boogie with what I call the play of the game. The Vikings were going to score. The question wasn't if they were going to score on that possession. It was what were they going to score. Was it going to be a field goal, or were they going to have an attempt, because their kicker stinks. They just actually released Blair Walsh today. But the question wasn't were they going to get an opportunity to score. It was what were they going to have an opportunity to score, touchdown or a field goal. And they were moving it. And just when we thought we were going to give up this lead, maybe even allow a tie or give up the lead altogether with a touchdown, P. Boogie shows up with the play of the game, drops into coverage. Bad throw by Bradford. He never saw P. Boogie dropping into coverage. But even if P. Boogie doesn't hit that football and deflect it, I don't know where he's throwing that football. There's a slant behind him, but that ball is thrown at least 2 yards behind that slant. I don't know if there was another receiver outside of the view of the television camera, but the angle. But I tell you this much. I don't know where the hell he was throwing that football. I don't care. P. Boogie with the deflection. Did you see how he caught the football out of midair and one hand just kind of like snatched it out? His hands are huge because he just caught it and palmed the football with one hand, takes off running. Redskins gets the football all the way down to the Vikings 45-yard line. Hell of a play. Huge interception. Redskins were desperate for a turnover. That's something that we need more of. We don't generate enough turnovers. It's crazy. I had this talk with Redskins Review at one point. He said, man, at the beginning of the season, we couldn't get any stops, but we were forcing turnovers left and right. Now we're getting stops, but we can't force any turnovers. Like, we can't do both at the same time. And here's another instance of that. Redskins get the interception, though. It was good to just force a turnover. Shorten the field for all. Don't you get tired of our offense having to drive at 85, 75, 91, 92, 83 yards for a touchdown? Don't you think it would be a lot easier if they start the possession at the other team's 45-yard line, which they did here? And so the Redskins, they used the run and the play action fake to set up a PG-88 chunk play. J.C. Ice with a nice little catch to get us into field goal range comfortably. But Kirk is sacked on third down. I thought we were a little conservative there. I thought that they were looking to force the Vikings to use their timeouts. And on third down, I didn't have a problem with Kirk taking the sack because it forced the Vikings to use their third and final timeout. But the first two plays, we ran it. And I didn't have a problem with a run on first down. But on second down, I'm like, all right, let's be aggressive. You got first and goal. We had first and 10 from the 12. That's where we ended up after the J.C. Ice catch got us down to the 12-yard line. And I'm saying, all right, let's be aggressive here. Let's go for the jugular. This was the same scenario as the Cowboys game in week 2. You're up 23-20 with a chance to put the game away. And remember, in that game, Kirk throws the interception to Barry Church. Cowboys take the football down the field, score a touchdown, and we lose 27-23. Same scenario here. And I thought that maybe that was in the back of the mind of the coaches where they said, hey, last time we were here in this same exact spot, Kirk threw an interception. We're not doing that this time. We're going to run it twice, force them to use their timeouts. And on third down, if we get a look we like, we'll take advantage of it and score a touchdown. If not, we'll kick a field goal and go up by 6 and force them to have to score a touchdown with no timeouts remaining. I don't have a problem with that, but I want to go for the jugular. I want to go for the win there. I don't want to go for the conservative approach. And I'm not saying that's what the intent was. If we pop one of those runs and we were having success running, it might turn into a touchdown. But all I'm saying is I would have loved to have seen us be a little bit more aggressive on second down and on third down and have an opportunity to get in the end zone and put this game away at 30-20 with a touchdown instead of having to rely on the defense to get another stop. And we've been in this spot a number of times this year. Go back to Baltimore. Defense needing a stop up 6 to preserve a victory. We were in that same spot against Detroit. We blew it. They got the touchdown. They beat us. So I'm not comfortable being in this situation. Redskins needing to have a defensive stop to preserve a win. I would have preferred for us to get that touchdown, but we didn't. And so D-Hop comes on for his 4th field goal of the second half, bangs it home, and gives us the lead or extends the lead out to 26-20. And then the next set of downs, it almost felt reminiscent of Detroit because, and even Baltimore to a certain extent, they just moved it right down the field. And it was more like Detroit because Baltimore, they had a 4th down early in that possession, and Flacco had to run for it to pick up the first down to extend that drive. And then they started moving it. This one was immediate. It was just bang, 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 Stephon Diggs. And then they were right down in, Redskins territory. It just seemed like in the blink of an eye. We were playing soft, giving up everything underneath, and they were taking it. And just like that, voila, bam, they're in Redskins territory. And I'm like, all right, guys, it's time for you to tighten up now. And we get a big sack by Trent Murphy to really bog them down. And then after that, the very next play, showstopper Ryan Kerrigan is held, and Jake Gruden makes an interesting decision. Look, I'm screaming at the house, what are you doing, man? Accept that penalty. They got 11 seconds left on the clock. You take that penalty, it drives them all the way back to the 38-yard line, where it's going to be 3rd and 27 from the 38, and it's 11 seconds left. Anything in bounds in this game is over. So in my head, I'm like, yo, take the penalty. They have so far to go if you take this penalty. He elected to go for a one-shot stop. You guys get to stop on 4th and 17 from the 28-yard line, and the game's over. One time. You just need one stop. And I'm like, man, I don't give a damn about the downs. I care about the time, and if they complete anything in bounds, we got their ass. And so it turned out to be the right move. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but okay. Joe Barry. Say what you want about Joe B. Joe B dialed up a pressure there, man. 5-man rush, and Preston Smith hit home, sacked Sam Bradford, ends the threat, and the ball game. Redskins get a much-needed victory, 26-20, over the Minnesota Vikings, in a game that had a lot of twists and turns, man. We're up 14-0, then we're down 14 at the half. Then we scratch and claw our way to 4 field goals, take the lead at 26-20, and got to hold on for dear life at the end. But we did, and that's all that matters. Redskins go to 5-3-1 on the season, and man, for once, I would just like to be nice and relaxed at the end of a ball game. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, they make us sweat every week, but I love it, man. And like I said, it just felt like I hadn't watched my boys on the tube in quite some time. And every time we wear the throwbacks, it's a dramatic finish. I talked about the Chargers game like 3 or 4 years ago when we played the Chargers and we won. When they couldn't get it in, 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. When we got the stops, the game went to overtime and we ended up winning on a Darrell Young fullback dive. Then you got the Tampa Bay game last year. Who could forget that game that turned around our season with the throwbacks on? And then this game, you know, up 14, down 6 at the half. And then you come back and you win and you get the huge interception and the stop to secure and preserve the victory. We seem to always have these dramatics. And then Kirk gives us a little something. Ooh-wee! Going into the tunnel. That's a Q-Bar exclusive there, though. That's a Quentin Dunbar thing that the team has just started to do. And let's see if this picks up a little bit of steam. That ooh-wee picks up a little bit of steam like you like that. We'll see what happens with that. But, man, it's just fun to be a Redskins fan right now. If we beat Green Bay, and you know what? I'll save that for the bow and go. Let's get to some of your comments. Let's see how you guys feel right now and how you guys felt about this big win that we got over the Minnesota Vikings. So let's get to your comments. See what we got. Make sure if you want your comment read, you're using the hashtag LouieTLive. Adrian Hernandez says, ooh-wee. Love it, man. Love it. See what else we got. Andre Mogul says, told you y'all would win. Losing North was crucial. Hey, I'll take anything I can get. I don't really care how we get it. I just want it right now. I classify the Vikings as a good football team. Now, they're struggling right now. But I had a rant earlier on this very program about 3 weeks to a month ago with my F that, where I said, look, I'm tired of, beating the middle of the pack teams and losing to the good teams. We got to find a way to beat the good teams. And the Vikings classify as a good team. They may still make the playoffs. They're struggling right now at 5-4 on the season. But this is still a good football team. They play defense. They're sound in their principles. They don't make a bunch of mistakes. They did make that one critical mistake with the interception thrown by Bradford. But they generally don't beat themselves. You have to beat them. And we went out and we played. And this is why you have to know that we're a good football team. At least offensively, we're good. Is because this is a good Vikings team. You say what you want about the Vikings during their losing streak and all the struggles that they've had. They still haven't been giving up points. They still haven't been giving up a ton of yards. That loss to Detroit 2 weeks ago, Matthew Stafford barely had over 200 yards passing in that game, and they only scored 22, and they needed overtime to score 22 in that game. They were lifeless offensively, were the Lions, throughout that game, and at the end they came to life, got the score late to take the game to overtime. They only had 13 points going into their final drive of the game where they kicked the field goal, send it to overtime, and then score a touchdown and get to 22 points. They've been still playing defense even in their losses. So I don't take this for granted that we played against a good defensive football team and we dominated them. I felt like on the offensive side of football, like I said, really good game plan by Sean McVay. in this game. Adrian Hernandez says, I think Fat Rob is going to go off next week. I'm starting him on my fantasy team. Good luck with that. The Green Bay Packers have one of the best rush defenses in the league, so I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but hey, man, knock yourself out. Hopefully that works out for you. Lorenzo Simpson says, teams will now have to fear our run game, which will help Kirk pick apart defenses. Yes, you are correct there, my man. This run game, and it looks like it's going to be effective, has a chance to be a game changer for us because it really allows us to truly stay balanced. That stuff that we've been doing earlier in the season, handoffs to Chris Thompson and running for a yard with Matt Jones, 2 yards, and ending up in 3rd and 7, that's for the birds, man. To actually be able to run it and get 4 on first down, to get 5 on first down, to get 3 on first down, run it again and get 3 more and be in 3rd and 4. Do you know how good that feels? To actually have a run game that can go out and consistently keep you ahead of the sticks, ahead of the down and distance, keep you in 3rd and manageable, where you don't feel like even if we miss an assignment or we have a free runner, that it's not going to be a 3-yard loss automatically because this guy can make defenders miss. He can run through arm tackles. He gets extra yards after contact. There's so much to like with Rob Kelly, and Fat Rob changes the dynamics of this offense in a good way because Kirk, to me, is at his best when he can go play action fake and drive the football down the field. That's really been missing. They've been trying to replicate that with, these runs that we've been having, but teams don't respect our run enough to commit that extra defender to the box. Now they may have to. And, even without a Deshaun Jackson in the lineup, maybe that will make teams a little bit more willing to come into the box with an 8th defender because they don't fear Pierre Garçon or Jordan Reed or Jamison Crowder deep. Maybe they'll say, okay, no Deshaun Jackson. We'll commit an 8th defender to the box, and that'll allow somebody to get free because these guys are deceptively fast, and they can get behind defenders, especially if it's one-on-one coverage. So I really like the run game and the possibilities that may come off of it. See what else we got. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 hashtag dog pound says, how do you feel facing a pissed off Aaron Rodgers Sunday night? I'm afraid. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm nervous about it, but they're struggling right now. And they were struggling last year when they came in here. I said that on the R3 that it doesn't really matter. Our defense isn't good enough to shut anybody down. This Vikings team, they were struggling coming into this game. They could do nothing on offense. And we gave up 3 touchdowns in the span of 5 minutes and 39 seconds in the second quarter. So, and Sam Bradford threw for over 300 yards on us. So, while I would love to say I'm not afraid, I ain't afraid of no ghost. That Packers team is a ghost of what they used to be. It's not the same Packers team. As much as I would like to say that, I'm still afraid of that ghost, man. That ghost haunts me still. I still see that playoff game. We were up 11-0 in that game before Aaron Rodgers turned it up and shredded us. So damn right I'm afraid. And I know he's pissed off. And I know they're desperate. Just like this Vikings team was desperate. They're even more desperate because they're under 500. At least the Vikings came into the game versus us still atop the NFC North division. They were losing games at an alarming rate, 3 in a row after starting 5-0, but they still were the leaders in the clubhouse. So the level of desperation, although it was high, it wasn't as high as it is for the Packers. They're sub 500 and their season is sinking fast at 4-5. Another loss would send them to 4-6, and they'd be losers of like 4 or 5 straight. They could be more like 4 straight. They can't afford to lose this game. So I know they're going to be desperate. I know they're going to come in here and they're going to be looking for a W, but that being said, we need it just as bad as they do. Our division, not to be played with. Nobody in our division is losing games right now, so we can't afford to lose games. Jonas McConan says, do you think Cravens is our future strong safety? Seems like a Cam Chancellor guy. I don't know if he's a Cam Chancellor type, but I think he could be the answer at safety, yes. I would love to see him get a chance back there because we just need a playmaker back there. Like, Dante Whitner is okay. He's a nice gap filler for us. Stop gap. But in terms of a playmaker, he's not a playmaker. That's not what he is. And that play to Stephon Diggs right before the half, to me, is an indictment on our safety position right now. because I don't think Will Blackman picks that off. I don't think that Dookie or Nacho picks that off. I don't think that, I know, because I saw it with my own two eyes, that he's not, that, I just forgot his name that quick, but that he's not going to pick it off, because he didn't even look for the football. So I would love to see Sua Cravens, but that's not going to happen now. That would be a move they would make in the offseason. Dante Whitner is his name. That would be a move they would make in the offseason. He would have to get reps in the offseason, the entire offseason, for them to make that switch to the safety position. We'll see what happens, because I know they really like him at linebacker, and he's a playmaker for us there. But I'd like to see him definitely get an opportunity at safety, which is his more natural position. Jonas McConan says, Preston Smith is a Sam Bradford killer. It seems like it, because remember, he had a big game. I think it was a 3-sack game versus Bradford when he was a member of the Eagles last year in that NFC East division clinching win for the Redskins. So you may be on to something there. Let's hope he's just a killer in the second half of the season. Let's hope that, and not just a Sam Bradford killer, because we need him to step up. We need him to step up in the second half of the season. Amick89 says, I think they should put Breeland in the slot and Toller outside. That will help our D. I don't think that's a bad idea. I actually think Greg Toller, when given the opportunity, actually plays some solid football out there. And I think Breeland does play well in the slot. But I also like Bree out on the edge. And I love the rookie Fuller in the slot. And even though he had his moments where he was torched in this game, he's been good for us. And the only way he's going to get better is by playing. So I don't have a problem with the way that it's set up right now. I like Toller as depth. So if one of our corners goes down, we still know we got Greg Toller sitting on the bench waiting to come in and provide us with a little bit of depth. So I don't have a problem with the way it's set up, but I think that way with Breeland in the slot and Toller out wide wouldn't be bad either. But like I said, we're fine either way. I really like what Kendall Fuller has brought to the table, and I think that Bree on the outside is just fine. Skins, HTTR Skins Nation says, why are we having so much less success in the red zone this year versus last year? I think the biggest difference between last year and this year in the red zone is Jordan Reed. Remember, Jordan Reed had 11 receiving touchdowns last year, and probably about 9 of them came in the red zone. And he was such a big force for us in the red zone last year, and we're not going to him. And I can't explain why. I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago. It might even been against Cincinnati in the last game that we played. He caught a slant for a touchdown in the red zone. Why can't we do that more often? I mean, last year, and I know they want to go away from tendencies. They want a tendency break. But last year, what we would do on a normal basis was we would put trips to one side of the field and put Jordan Reed on the other side by himself, isolate him, and we throw him the football, whether it be a back shoulder fade or a slant. We get him the football, and he'd win for us. This year, we refuse to throw Jordan Reed the football in the red zone. We're trying all these gimmicky plays, fake wide receiver screen, and you're trying to get guys on a one-man show. It's not going to work. You got to go to your bread and butter. Jordan Reed wins one-on-one matchups. Isolate him to one side, trips to the other side. It's not rocket science. We had much more success with read option in the red zone last year. We're not really running read option in the red zone this year. I don't know why, don't ask me. But again, I think it's a number of different things that we're just not doing that we did well last year. Back shoulder fades, regular fades. Remember the fade issue we had against Dallas with Josh Doxson? We've thrown fades to Pierre Garçon, and they've just been off. I think we threw one to him in this game, and it was off. We're just not doing a good job of throwing the fade this year. Kirk threw the fade really well last year. I remember the Buffalo game, Pierre Garçon caught a fade. The Philly game, it was a beautifully thrown fade in the back of the end zone to put that game out of reach. We're not doing the things that we did last year in the red zone effectively this season. We're not drawing it up like we did. I think we're trying to be too cute when it's simple. Go to your playmakers. Go to what works. And Jordan Reed works in the red zone. Simple as that for me. Moving right along, Justin Most says, who should we take off of IR, Corey L. or Josh Doxson? I think we're fine at receiver. After seeing what Maurice Harris did, I would much rather just have Josh Doxson just rest up and bring Corey Lichtensteiger off the IR and not start him. Don't put him in the game. Just have him as a backup player for us, because you can always use offensive line depth, as we've seen over the last 3 weeks or so with guys going down and Trent's suspension. You need offensive line depth. You need flexibility. Corey can play 3 positions on the offensive line, both guard positions and center. So that kind of flexibility allows you to do certain things and move guys around if need be. So I prefer to bring Corey Lichtensteiger off of IR versus Josh Doxson. I think we're loaded. Rashard Ross hasn't even seen the field as a receiver. We're loaded at receiver. Don't think we need Doxson at this very moment. Let's keep moving. Lorenzo Simpson says, this game taught us we don't need Deshaun Jackson. I see him walking before Garcon. I said that on the R3. I basically said that this was a life without D-Jax game for me. I wanted to see what we looked like without him on the field and how teams would approach us and play us and how we would game plan and how we would go out and execute without him. And we went out and we were just fine. And like I said on the R3, we don't even have Josh Doxson. The doc is not in yet. And we went out and performed at a high level again. Still need to clean up the red zone woes, but we went out and performed at a very high level without Deshaun Jackson. The offense went and it performed like it normally does, like standard, normal operating procedure. And so I feel really good about this offense right now, and I feel good about it minus Deshaun Jackson. Pierre Garcon, to me, means more to our offense than Deshaun Jackson does, because Pierre Garcon moves the sticks. He does the dirty work. He blocks. He plays with a level of intensity that we need on this football team that would be lacking if he wasn't on it. And so I think if we had to pick between the two, I'd take Garcon, because I think Josh Doxson can come in and fill a little bit of the role that was played by Deshaun Jackson, and gives us a little bit more height as well in that process. So, and Deshaun's getting older, so it depends on what kind of money he's asking for. But at the end of the day, if I had to choose between the two of them, give me Pierre Garcon, give me PG88 all day long. Let's see. Tyree Mosby says, Fat Rob should be our starter for from now on because of how he's playing. He's going to be our starter. Don't you worry about it. Barring anything catastrophic like an injury, he's not going anywhere. He's going to start. And I'm going to tell you right now, Mac Brown, I don't know if you saw him, but he was on special teams. He made a great tackle on special teams. He was up. Remember, Matt Jones, Matt Jones was a healthy scratch. He wasn't injured. They just didn't play him. He's going to find it tough to get back on the field. I'm telling you this right now. Sheriff Amoon says, do you think we'll make the playoffs? Yes, I do. I think we're one of the best 6 teams in the NFC. And I think as the season progresses, we'll prove that over the 16-game slate. HTTR Chris 27 says, Maurice Harris showed more potential in that one game that we've seen out of Ryan Grant in any game, LOL. As bad as that sounds, I think you're right. He showed us something, the ability to A, stay on his feet, B, be critical in some third down situations where you got to have it. No mistakes. Get your feet down before you go out of bounds. Catch the football with your hands. I think you're right. Maurice Harris. Man, that was impressive. I'm going to tell you what. I was really impressed with him. I was impressed with him in the preseason as well. And I said I wanted us to keep him, but I didn't think we had enough space. We put him on the practice squad, and voila, this guy's come in, and he's contributed right away. Love what he's bringing to the table. Adrian Hernandez says, Robert Kelly's decision-making is what got my approval, and he never stops moving them feet. You're right. He runs so hard. He's very decisive, and I think the offensive line appreciates that. The last thing you want is a hole to be opened up and a guy that's tippy-toeing, and then that hole closes up, and it seems like you're not doing your job effectively. When there's a hole there to be hit, he hits it. He hits it full head of steam, and like you said, even when he's contacted, the feet never stop moving, and so that allows him to get yards after contact. Jonathan Lynch says, do you think the tie on our record could hurt us making the playoffs? It could help us. It could hurt us. That should have been a win. So from that standpoint, it's going to hurt us. But the fact that it's not a loss helps us. Just look at it this way. If a team goes 10-6 and we go 9-6-1, it hurt us. And we missed the playoffs by that one game, it hurt us. If we go 9-6-1 and another team goes 9-7, we get in, and they don't, and it helps us. Either way, I just hate the fact that we tied because it was a game that we should have won. That's the way I look at that. But at the end of the day, that tie could either help us or hurt us. We'll see what happens. All we can do is control winning games now. From moving here on forward, all we can control is winning games. And if we do that, that tie will be rendered irrelevant. If we go 10-5-1, we're going to make the playoffs. Trust me. All right? And I said 10-6 before. You remember, I said 10-6. If we go 10-5-1, we're going to make the playoffs. Now, I had said 10-6 was going to win this division. With the way the Cowboys are playing, 10-6 isn't winning a damn thing other than a wild card. But let's go get that. Let's go 10-5-1 and win that wild card and have a shot. I'm not afraid of the Lions if they win their division. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'll go to Seattle. We owe them one anyway. I don't give a damn. But we got to get there. We're a long ways away. A lot of football to be played. A lot of games have to be won before we can start throwing around the P word. Let's continue on. HTTR Chris 27 says, you mentioned needing a real safety. I just read that Will Hill's suspension is finished. Would you love to give him a chance? No. I don't want any part of Will Hill. The guy's a distraction. We have a really good locker room. We don't do domestic violence or anything of that sort. We got enough weed smokers on our team. I'm good. I'm going to pass on Will Hill. And Will Hill's just a guy. He's not a game changer. He's just a guy. And so I'm going to pass on Will Hill. I want my own stuff. We need to draft and develop our own stuff. I don't want anything off the streets. I don't want to go and sign anybody in free agency. I want to draft a guy. I want Scott McCloughan to identify a guy, draft him, and the coaches to coach him up, and him to come in and be a homegrown product for us. That's what I want. Andre Mogul says, Dante Whitner never tries to locate ball in coverage. He just wants to hit. And that's exactly what he did on that play. And him hitting the Vikings receiver on that play, Stephon Diggs, wasn't going to make a difference because he was sliding. Locate the ball, bruh. That was an interception. But like you said, that's been his MO his entire career. He's not a guy that's looking for the football. He's looking to hit somebody. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, Dante Whitner is only a run stopper and a hitter. Trust me, I see him play all the time. If you want a ball hawk, then get Ed Reed. Too bad he retired. Ed Reed's old as dirt and not the same player. You don't want an Ed Reed. You want to find a guy that plays like Ed Reed, but they don't grow on trees. So you have to get lucky in that sense. Jonas McKellan says, Maurice Harris should take Ryan Grant's spot. If he can block like Ryan Grant is a huge part of our team because he blocks. If Maurice Harris blocks, I think he could easily be a guy that makes this roster over Ryan Grant come next season because I don't know if we're going to keep 6 receivers next year. We'll see what happens, but that's a long ways away. Maurice Harris looks good, and I think he's going to continue to get more reps if he continues to play the way that he has. Let's move on. I'll stop here, and let's move on to the next topic at hand, our bow and go for week number 10 heading in to week number 11. Redskins bow and go. So let's start with our bow here, and let's put a bow on this Vikings win. It was a big win. We needed it. We had to have it. We got it. Now we got to move on. The big takeaways from this game, though, Preston Smith coming alive. Let's hope that this wasn't a one-game occurrence. Let's hope that this is the start of a big second half of the season for Preston Smith. 2 sacks. One of those sacks I thought was a gimme that Trent Murphy donated to him. Trent Murphy really got the pressure there, and the sack kind of fell into his lap. But you'll take it either way. The big sack at the end, and, of course, the game-changing interception that helped the Redskins preserve the victory. Let's hope that this is the start of a huge second half of the season for P. Boogie, as we need him to come up big for us in the second half of this season. The run game, Fat Rob, I think we may have found our running back, and not just for this season, maybe our running back of the future. I mean, this could be Alfred Morris 2.0 here. A guy that you didn't expect a lot out of, that gets an opportunity and just doesn't look back. And we may have found our running back. I'm telling you, I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Robert Kelly, man. Fat Rob has come in and been everything we've been missing at the running back position since Alfred Morris's rookie season. And hell, you could probably argue his second season in the league in 2013. This guy runs physically. He makes guys miss, which Alfred Morris never did. Alfred Morris would run through arm tackles, but he wasn't going to make anyone miss. Robert Kelly can make guys miss out in space. And I think that's something that goes unnoticed because he runs so physically. This guy is making defenders miss. And that is something that we haven't seen in Washington in quite some time. Even Clinton Portis didn't make anybody miss when he came to Washington. So this is something that I'm enjoying right now. Running back that can actually make guys miss out in space and take a 5-yard run and turn it into a 22-yard run. Take a 2-yard run and turn it into an 8-yard run. Take a 3-yard run and turn it into a 33-yard run. We got that kind of back on our team right now. The only thing I think he's lacking is breakaway speed. But look, I'll take what I can get. I'm not going to be greedy. I just want a guy that can get the yards that are there and then some. And Robert Kelly is proving to be that guy. Also, another big takeaway from this game, red zone woes. We still haven't figured it out yet. We were 1-4 in this game. If we score touchdowns in this game isn't even close. It's not even close. And the one that really hurt me was the one at the end when we had a chance to go up 10 at 30-20 to put this game out of reach. You get a touchdown there, this game's over. We settle for a field goal, and the Vikings still had a chance to beat us with a touchdown. So we have to clean up the red zone woes, but it's a big win. Defense pitches a shutout in the second half yet again. We get it done. Fast start, slow middle, big ending. Redskins get it done 26-20 over the Minnesota Vikings. Go to 5-3-1 on the season, which sets up a huge Sunday night football matchup. Bright lights, big stage. Let's move on to the go of week number 11. So, this is a big one, and this is a little bit of a revenge game. Revenge! Revenge is a dish best served ice cold, and I'm looking to be cold-blooded versus these Minnesota Vikings, these Green Bay Packers. I want this one bad, and I'm out for blood on this one. I really would like to just dominate these boys on a big stage. Look, frankly, I just want to win. We don't win at home on primetime very often. We've got an opportunity to do so against a reeling Green Bay Packers team. I'd love for us to take advantage of that. That being said, however, I'm nervous. But then again, when aren't I nervous? I'm nervous every week, but I'm specifically nervous because of the quarterback opposite of Kirk Cousins in this game, and that being Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a beast. And even though he's not playing his best football, even though the Packers are struggling, even though the defense stinks over there, they got a ton of injuries, they still have Aaron Rodgers. And because of that, our defense is not great. Don't confuse our defense for anything more than a okay unit at best. Our defense still lacks the ability to put teams away. We were up 14-0. If the defense just continues to get stops, we blow the Minnesota Vikings out. But instead, they gave up 3 straight touchdown drives. And yes, the defense wasn't helped by a fumble by CT at the end of the first half, but it doesn't matter. How about you give up a field goal one of those times? How about you force them to kick a field goal? Everybody else is forcing us to kick field goals in the red zone. How about you force them to kick a field goal? They didn't. They gave up touchdowns. We're not a good defense still. And this offense, they may be struggling, but Devontae Adams, he's lighting it up right now. Aaron Rodgers, still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Say what you want about their struggles, they're still getting it done. So while we look at the Packers and we say, oh man, Tennessee put up 47 last week. Yeah, they did. Indianapolis put up over 30 the week before that. Yeah, the Packers are struggling. Those teams scored touchdowns. We're not scoring touchdowns. Don't compare us to them. We need to find a way to beat the Packers. Period. I don't give a damn if it's 6-3, 13-10, 26-20, 37-36. I don't give a damn. I just want to win. Because the Cowboys refuse to lose. The Giants keep winning. I don't know how, but they do. And the Eagles, every time I think I got the Eagles right where I want them, I'm ready to pronounce those boys dead. They beat a team they have no business beating. So even they're winning. Look at the standings below. There's no room for error, no margin for error. We got to win. And the Packers are in the way. And I said we got to start beating good teams. This Packers team, not a good team right now. They got Aaron Rodgers. I still classify them as a good team. Just like I said about the Vikings last week, they can still make the playoffs. Nothing is out of bounds. Nothing is out of reach for the Green Bay Packers. So they're going to come in desperate, knowing that they need to get back to 500, and they got to beat us to get there. We know that we can't afford to lose this game. Am I nervous? You damn right I am. Can we win this game? You damn right we can. I think we're going to be able to get it done, but it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to play our A game offensively, put these boys down, score points when we get opportunities. Be nice to force some turnovers, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't give it up very often, so don't look for those. Get some stops, 3 and outs. That'd be great. They had a ton of them versus Tennessee, which allowed Tennessee to run the score up. That'd be great. But bottom line is Tennessee Titans scored touchdowns. They didn't kick field goals. You can't kick field goals versus Aaron Rodgers and expect to win. You want to beat the Packers, you got to get in the end zone because they get in the end zone. What I was thinking, and this is what I was going to say earlier, and I said I was going to save it for the bow and go, is that, do you know how big this win would be for us? It would put us at 6-3-1, going into a huge, and it doesn't matter what the Cowboys do versus the Ravens. They're probably going to beat the Ravens. Whether they win or lose that game, do you understand what a win versus the Packers on Sunday Night Football? First of all, that's a game in front of a nationally televised audience who doesn't really know what we're doing right now. They still have the images of us getting our ass pounded on Monday Night Football by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still think we're that team. They don't know what we're doing right now. So they look at us and they saw us against the Bengals in London and they say, oh, they're still the same Redskins. They don't know how to win. So everybody thinks we're the same damn Redskins. Same old team. They can't get it done. We go to primetime and we lay an egg and yeah, they may be over 500, but they're a joke. That's what everybody's thinking. Honestly speaking, I don't give a damn what everybody else thinks. But aren't you tired of being embarrassed on primetime television? I know I am. I'm sick and tired of it, especially when you at the crib. I'm sick and tired of losing at home. And eventually, the NFL is going to get sick and tired of giving us home primetime games. At some point, they're going to say, you know what? You don't deserve a primetime game at the crib. Go to New York. Go to Dallas. Go to Philadelphia. Go to Green Bay. Go to Detroit on primetime. We're not giving you any more home games because you don't ever win them. We need to take care of business here. But what I was going to say before I went off track is that do you understand the magnitude of what a win would mean here? A win would put us at 6-3-1. And despite whatever the Cowboys do, win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter against the Ravens. Do you know how epic a matchup it will be on Thanksgiving? It'll feel like old times. Cowboys, Redskins meaning something. Remember how you felt on that December day when the Redskins beat the Dallas Cowboys in Week 17, Alfred Morris rushing 31 times for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Redskins win. Big interception by Rob Jackson. Big play Rob picking off Tony Romo late in that ball game. Redskins winning that football game. Do you remember how you felt in a big spot on primetime television beating the Dallas Cowboys and that game meaning something? Everything on the line? Well, that's what that Thanksgiving game is going to feel like. Remember when we beat them on Thanksgiving in 2012? That same season? How good that felt? A meaningful game. Redskins in the midst of starting that winning streak that they were going at the end of that season to come back. Cowboys in the midst of trying to get in a position to win the division. We would later clash and meet heads in Week 17. Do you remember how good it felt? Both teams playing good football. It meaning something. This game will mean something. If we beat the Packers, go to 6-3-1, Cowboys come in at 8-2 or 9-1 if they win again. And this game will mean something. And if we win, we go to 7-3, they drop to 9-2, and then all of a sudden we're right there. Right there. This game is huge. We lose this game and drop to 5-4, all of a sudden, that game's still going to mean a hell of a lot to us. It's going to mean a ton. But it won't have the same implications on the standings as it would if we win this game, riding a 2-game winning streak, going to Big D, knowing we owe those boys and we can't allow them to sweep us. And we don't allow them to sweep us. When's the last time we swept the Cowboys? When's the last time they swept us? You got to go all the way back to what? 2014 when they swept us? Matter of fact, I don't even think they swept us in 2014. That was the Colt McCoy game up in Big D when we shocked them on a Monday night. So I can't even tell you the last time they swept us, we swept them. But we can't overlook the Packers to get to the Cowboys. We got to win this game. And the way to do it is to score points. I don't know what our defense is going to do in this game. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers could come out and shred us. I'm nervous, as you should be. But I do know this much. Our offense is good against anybody's defense. I don't give a damn who it is. Our offense is good enough to score on anybody. Field goals, touchdowns, doesn't make me any bit of difference. We can score, but it's going to take touchdowns in this game to win. We want to beat the Packers. We're going to need to score more than 26 points. That's bottom line. And the way to do that, score touchdowns, not field goals. We're going to see what happens. Let's take some more of your comments. Jonas McConan says, do you think Fat Rob is the future? He reminds me of Alfred Morris from 2012. And I basically said that, yes. And I answered that question as well already. All right. Estevan Lamas says, is it me or did J-No seem bothered the whole game? I don't think he was bothered. They didn't target him very much. And for the most part, they did the smart thing because, Josh Norman doesn't travel into the slot. So what they did was they took their best receiver, Stephon Diggs, and they put him in the slot virtually the entire game. So he got stuck checking a guy that he knew wasn't getting the football. That's frustrating. When you know the guy that you're checking, you're guarding, isn't getting the ball. And they did that all game. They basically said, we're going to take you out of the game by putting a useless receiver on you and taking you out of the game and making you worthless to your team. So he didn't get any action, and I know that has to suck. But bottom line is, they did a good job of keeping Stephon Diggs away from him. What are you going to do? Peter Parker says, we will not lose another game this regular season. Mark my words. I hope you are right. I'm not as brash as you are. I'm not as confident as you are. My term and my phrase is cautious optimism. I'm a cautious optimist. So I can't ever get myself to say something that outlandish, that brash, that demonstrative. But I hope you're right. That's all I can say. Hope you're right. See where else we got more comments. All right. Sheriff Amoon says, do you think we already read that. Protect 428 says, big win, but I wish we were 6-2-1 though. The Packers game can be tough. At this point, you can't go back. Can't cry over spilt milk. We lost the Lions game. Should have beat them. We tied the Bengals game. Should have won that game. It is what it is. We got to go out and we got to execute and we got to beat the Green Bay Packers. I'm tired of ducking and dodging these types of teams. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but we got to start winning these types of games. And that's why last week was so important because the Vikings, say what you want, the Vikings are a good team. And we beat them. This Packers team, although they're playing bad football right now, they're still a good team because they got Aaron Rodgers. We need to beat them. And the week after that, the Cowboys, they're a great team right now. They're the best record-wise in the league. We need to beat them. We got to start beating good teams. And so this is a game we need to go get. Gregory Lightbody says, I heard that either Doxson or Corey Lichtensteiger will come off of injury reserve. Who do you think we should choose? And I already answered that earlier. The choice for me is Corey Lichtensteiger. Protect428 says, I think that Aaron Rodgers can turn this game into a shootout, but our defense is better. So let's get them, fellas. I hope you're right. I still don't trust our defense. The one thing I feel good about is that the Packers don't run it well. So James Starks just came back. His first game back was against the Titans. He didn't look all that great, but again, a week more means a week healthier means he should be more effective. But they lost an offensive lineman in that game. TJ Lang went down with an ankle injury. Don't know if he'll be back. I am excited that Clay Matthews could potentially be out yet again. He's missed the last 2 games. I hope he makes it a third. And if that is in fact the case, I think we can take advantage of that. So they're banged up. Like I said, they're banged up right now. They're a banged up football team, and I fully expect us to take advantage of that. We got 10 minutes left in the show, so I want to get as many of these comments answered as I possibly can. Dom Espo says, did Derek Carrier play? Yes, he did play in the game yesterday. Protect428 says, will you see Matt Jones? Who? Matt Jones get any carries in our next ball game? I don't even know if he'll be active for the next ball game. I'm just telling you right now, they like these 3 backs that they have up in Chris Thompson and Fat Rob. They like that combination of those 2 guys. And then I think they really like what Mac Brown brings on special teams. And if need be, Mac Brown might touch the ball before Matt Jones does. So I don't even know if Matt Jones will be active next week. He's really got to do some good things in practice, I think, to even get the nod. We'll see. Protect428 says, can you see Matt Jones getting back into the rotation in the screen game? I don't know if this guy's going to even be active. Jay Gruden, right now, I think Matt Jones might be in his doghouse a little bit. So we're going to see. Kerry Lynn says, I think Jano was worth all that money. You're damn right. Every single penny of it, he's been worth it and then some. Bernard543 says, Packers going downhill. Y'all Redskins got this one. Hope you're right. You know, I'm not that confident. I won't say it, but I hope you're right. Sue Ellen says, what do you think about Tony Romo's press conference? I didn't see it, so I can't comment on it. Jonathan Lynch says, do you think Cousins can pass for 5,000 yards this season? It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't see him passing for 5,000 yards. I don't, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I could see him throwing for about 4,500, but I don't see him throwing for 5,000. Rob Kelly has been such a game changer, and this is from Justin Most. He says, Rob Kelly has been such a game changer for us. We are seeing a lot less second down and 10s and second down and 11s. Rob always picks up positive yards. I only saw one time where he didn't. And that's the key. And that's what I talked about earlier in the breakdown, is that the biggest thing right now is that he's putting us in a position where the entire playbook's available to us. We're staying ahead of the down and distance. We're not ending up in 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9s. We're ending up in 3rd and 4s and 3rd and 5s, which are manageable, which keeps us where we need to be on schedule on this offense. And what it also does, and I think this is the biggest thing that's going to benefit us moving forward, is it gives us a real play action fake look. Teams are going to have to respect the run game now. Teams weren't respecting our run game. They were handling us with 7 in the box. And every time they would bring an 8th defender down, we definitely couldn't run it. Now, you got to bring down an 8th defender because Rob Kelly is going to make you pay if you don't. And our offensive line, they can block. Believe it or not, they can run block. So I think he's going to maximize the yardage that's there, and that's going to force teams to have to dedicate that extra defender to the box. And then that's going to allow us to take some shots deep with play action fake. Bernard543 says, y'all throwback uniforms are so dope. They are. I love them. Love them to death. And we always win in them. Boba Sis says, Preston Smith greater than Brian Arapaho. Nuff said. I hope you're right. Because even Rack had a couple of 10-sack seasons for us. So I hope you're right. And they were garbage 10-sack seasons. Don't get it twisted. But Preston Smith has the potential to be huge. We just need him to continue to play this way. Kerry Lynn says, what's your take on Quentin Dunbar? I love Q-Bar. And that's just the depth that I talk about with the cornerback position. He came in, made a nice tackle on the play. He just provides us with more depth. And I just love the depth that this roster has and that Scott McCloughan has built. And I feel like we can go out and compete at any position, even when we're down a guy or two, because of the depth that we have on this football team. Dunbar is going to get beat sometimes, but as we saw in that Giants game, he can also make some plays, huge catch on special teams on the fake punt, and an even bigger play on the interception of Eli Manning in the red zone to take points off the scoreboard in a game that we had to have when we were 0-2. Q-Bar, huge part of this football team. All right. Enrique Valencia says, you don't want Greg Toller starting at all. Take it from a dude that gets burnt constantly when he was with us. I understand that. I understand that you don't want Greg Toller out there consistently, but when he's been playing in spot duty, he's done a good job for us. I like Greg Toller. I just like my Greg Toller in small increments. That's all. It's fine. I understand. Protect428 says, I like Zone Reed. I like Jay Reed and fades to PG88 work. I also would like screens to CT and Matt Jones, screens to JC Ice also. Those are all plays that have worked in the past. Some have worked this season. We just need to find a way to get in the end zone. We haven't done a good enough job of getting in the end zone, in the red zone. Steven Gomez says, do you think we should keep or get rid of Junior Gillette? You got to keep him. I think this is the last year, though. If he gets injured again, I think you cut your ties and you say, all right, we tried, we failed. It's a minimal investment. At this point, it doesn't help you. It doesn't hurt you. You hold on to him, and you hope that this guy can rehab, stay healthy this time around, and hope that you get something out of him. We'll see what happens. Boba says, I want to see Mac and Fat Rob split carries this week. All right, don't get too carried away now. Look, they just started running the football effectively. Don't ask them to start giving carries to Mac Brown as well. They like Chris Thompson. He's going to continue to get the rock. They like Fat Rob. He's going to continue to get the rock. That's it. That's as far as this thing goes. Don't start asking for carries for Mac Brown because they're not giving those out right now. I'm happy with my two-headed monster and those dudes carrying the rock. As long as CT doesn't fumble anymore, I'm perfectly fine with those two guys toting the rock for us in the run game. Amic89 says, I heard Josh Dotson might be almost ready, and they may bring him back. They're so anxious to get him on the field that if they only get to bring back one player off of IR, I think it's going to be Dotson if they think he's ready. They're so anxious to show everybody, look at our first-round pick. This guy's a playmaker. He's a baller. We're going to get him in there and show you. I don't need to see it right now. I think we got enough stuff. I'm more interested in depth along the offensive line than I am having another receiver. We got plenty of depth. We just showed that, showing Maurice Harris coming up and having Rashad Ross kickoff returns, and he can be a receiver as well. I just think we got plenty of depth there. We don't need another receiver, but we'll see what happens. I think if they had to choose, they'd take Dotson if he's healthy. Real Live TV says, this is a bigger game for our offense or defense. I think this is a bigger game for our offense because defensively, we're not good. And it'd be great if they went out and shut down Aaron Rodgers, but let's be real with ourselves. They're not going to do that. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't turn it over that many times. So the fact of the matter is, if we want to win this game, if we want to be better moving forward, the best thing that we could do is start to create turnovers, but more importantly, score in the red zone. We're so good offensively. Do you realize we've only went 3 and out 9 times this season? That's the fewest in the league. Like, we're so good offensively, it's not even funny. But it doesn't matter if you go from the 25 all the way to the 7-yard line if you got to kick a field goal. And that's what's killing us right now. And we can beat teams like the Packers, even if our defense stinks, if we're scoring touchdowns because we move the football so well. And it doesn't matter who the defense is. We move the football so well. We just got to score touchdowns. So this is a much bigger game in my mind, in my estimation, for the offense versus the defense. I'll read one more comment, and then I'm going to move on as we're getting close to our 9:30 deadline. Protect428 says, can we win the remaining games? I'm a one game at a time guy, so I can't even tell you. I think the Arizona Cardinals are after, if I'm not mistaken, the Dallas Cowboys game. I can't tell you who we play after that. Frankly, I don't even care. I'm one track mind. I got tunnel vision. Packers are next. Cowboys shortly thereafter. I don't want to hear about anything else but Packers right now. Redskins Pride WGIL says, how do you game plan for Green Bay? To me, make them one-dimensional first and foremost. Don't let James Starks. Remember, James Starks ran all over us in the second half of that playoff game. Don't let them run at all. Force Aaron Rodgers to have to beat us. And what everybody else is doing to Rodgers is they're coming with this must rush. They're not blitzing him because that's what Rodgers wants you to do so he can pick you apart. They're coming with a four-man rush. They're not going up the field and being over-aggressive. They're staying in their rush lane so Rodgers can't get out of the pocket. And they're dropping 7 and they're playing coverage. And Rodgers is struggling against that coverage and that look. If we can get to Rodgers with just 4, that offensive line is banged up. If we can get to Rodgers with just 4, I'd love to see that. I really think that we have an opportunity if we can get to him with just 4 rushers. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens offensively. To me, the game plan is simple. Just continue to do what it is we do. This time, get in the end zone. Because if we can run it and pass it, the Packers don't stand a chance. Their defense is not good right now. It's not good at all. And they're so banged up. No Clay Matthews. Their secondary is in tatters. We can take advantage of them, but we must score touchdowns. Got to take care of the football first and foremost. That's a given. But we got to score touchdowns when we do get in the red zone. When we get opportunities, we got to take advantage of it with 7s, not 3s. So to me, the game plan defensively, keep Aaron Rodgers in the pocket, stop the run, force Aaron. And I said this last year, and I almost feel funny saying it this year, but force Aaron Rodgers to beat you. Don't give him any help. Last year, we allowed the run game to be a crutch for him in the second half of that game. Don't allow the run game to help at all. We shut down the Vikings run game. They stink against running the ball. The Packers stink running the ball. So let's shut down the run again and force Aaron Rodgers to beat us. I think that's our best shot, and then we got to score points. That being said, let's go to the final outcome of this ball game. It's the final outcome. Whoa, yeah. So I look at this ball game and I say that this is a really big spot for us for a number of different reasons. One, it's a big stage, bright lights. We're on primetime television again. And I'm looking to make a bigger, better impression than we did the last time we were on a stage, such as primetime at home. And so we're in a position to make that Cowboys game a huge matchup on Thanksgiving. We're in a position to win at home on primetime for just the, second time in what seems like, an eternity. Let's do it. Packers are struggling. They're 4-5. They're reeling right now. They can't stop anybody defensively. Their offense isn't the same, but they still got guys that can make plays. Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. They're all healthy. So let's not sleep on these dudes because they can come out and blaze us. But that being said, we got to take it to these dudes, man. We got to take it to them. Their defense stinks. Their run game is non-existent. They're banged up. They're reeling. Let's not let them get back right against us. I'm not looking forward to helping anybody else climb back into the playoff picture. I'm looking to elevate our status in the NFC playoff picture. Damn, the Packers is about us. And so I got us taking care of business, but we're going to have to score points. They're going to score. We're going to have to score. But we're going to score in this game, 33-27. Redskins get it done. And I think the game is actually 33-20 late, and the Packers score a touchdown. And then we got to recover an onside kick to put this game away, 33-27. But we're going to have to score points if we want to beat the Packers. Bottom line, we don't score points. We kick field goals in excess. We're going to lose this football game because Aaron Rodgers is going to score against our defense. I can assure you of that. They're going to score points against our defense. We have to get stops, and we have to score touchdowns. I'll read a couple more comments. It's past 9:30, so we're about to get out of here. Let me check Twitter real quick. I keep hearing my phone go off, but I don't think this is anything that has to do with us in our conversations. I'm going to check my mentions real quick because I know my man Brax loves to send me tweets. Got a couple of tweets here, so I'm going to read them. At Saluter John says, which matchup that we have left worries you the most? Love the content, brother. Appreciate that. For me, like I said, I can't remember all the games. I know we got all 3 of our NFC East matchups left. I know we have the Arizona Cardinals on the road. We got the Chicago Bears on the road. And we got this Packers game. So I think that's all the remaining games, if I'm not mistaken. We got 7 games left. 3 NFC East games. Cardinals, Bears, that's 5. Packers, that's 6. I'm forgetting a game, obviously. I can't remember what's the other matchup that we have, but it's a non-divisional game, obviously. But in any event, the one that worries me the most is any division game. You pick one. It doesn't really matter to me. We got to win the NFC games. Those count the most. I think we're done with our AFC slate, if I'm not mistaken. We've already played the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers, and the Bengals. So we're done with the AFC. Everything else is NFC related. So we need to win these games because if you start talking tiebreakers, and remember, we're tied with the Arizona Cardinals. They have a tie. Seattle Seahawks have a tie. So in an event that we end up tied with one of those teams and we're looking to get in, we go head-to-head with the Cardinals. So we have a chance to win that and break that tie right there. But in any event, you need to win these NFC games. This is a big one versus the Green Bay Packers. But for me, any game in the division, obviously, I want the Cowboys game more than any other game. My turkey will taste better. My Thanksgiving holiday will be better. The air that I breathe will be better. My sleep will be better. My Black Friday shopping will be better if we beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So obviously, that's the game that concerns me the most because I want that one the most. Another tweet. This one from @DTEAJ So Goofy says, hope you enjoy your bye week and Thanksgiving, Lou. Excellent work throughout the season, and I appreciate that. And also he says, love seeing Cravens get a lot of snaps Sunday. The speed makes a huge difference in our defense. I agree. I couldn't agree more. On that pitch that they gave to Ronnie Hillman, where he gets in the backfield and tackles him for a 6-yard loss, that's just pure speed right there. I mean, you see it every week with other teams. Guys like Ryan Shazier, if you watch the Cowboys game, knifing into the backfield, unmolested because he's so fast before that guard or that tackle can even lay a finger on him, and he's in the backfield for a 4-yard loss. That's what Stuart Cravens did on that toss play. That's what speed can do for your defense. We've been lacking it for years. He's going to infuse a little bit of that and inject a little bit of that into our defense. We need more team speed on that side of the football. Looking forward to this upcoming draft. But again, we're so far away from that. Love Cravens getting more snaps, though. I love it, love it, love it. I'll take a couple more comments and then we'll get out of here. Sean Hawk Talks NFL says, I'm scared for this coming week. I think the Packers game is a good test for our team. It is, and it truly is, and it's going to tell us where we are as a football team. If we lose this football game, we're not where we need to be yet. If we win this game, and I don't care how we get it done, if we win this game, it proves that we're maturing as a football team and we're learning how to win against better competition in this league. Real Live TV says, is Jay Gruden a head coach for us? Of course he is. I told you that before anybody believed. Go back and watch my midseason evaluation video last year when I broke down Jay Gruden at the bye week. That'll tell you all I need to know, all you need to know about how I feel about Jay Gruden. And this was before anybody believed in Jay Gruden. A lot of people were asking for him and calling for his head at that time. And I've always had Jay Gruden's back. I love Jay Gruden. I think he's a great coach's player or player coach, where a lot of these guys gravitate to him because he takes care of his players. You take care of him and he'll take care of you. So I really like him. Sean Hawk Talks NFL says, as long as we, Ice Cube, do what we supposed to do, we will win, no problem. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Jonathan Adams says, I'm amped for this game. As am I. As am I. Jonathan Lynch says, what do you think the game plan for the Redskins should be on both sides of the ball against the Packers Sunday night? I already answered that question. And finally, Redskins Pride WIL says, we can stay on the field with our run game. Fat Rob protects the ball and moves the chains. All right, so that's going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys joining me here. Again, I'm on a bye week next week, so no Redskins report live. But I will break down the Sunday night game. That will be my final game that I will break down for week number 11. And then I will also break down the Thursday Thanksgiving games, including the Redskins and Cowboys game. And then that will be it for me next week. So, yes, I will enjoy this bye week. It is a long time coming. I will enjoy my family. I will enjoy the food. I will enjoy the friends. I will enjoy everything that comes along. This is my favorite time of the year. I will enjoy all that comes with Thanksgiving. And I want to extend an early happy Thanksgiving to all of you. You'll see me again before then, though. I still have games and things of that nature to break down before we get there. But in any event, if it happens with this football team, the Washington Redskins, you know your man Louie T has you covered. Remember, I am a Redskins fan. Etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. As always, this is a big one for us on primetime television. Bright lights, big stage. Fellas, show up and go get them, fellas. Bring home the dub. I will see you guys later on in the week. Have a good one.